things we didn't touch on. So we got like chapter 10, chapter 11, whole rebirth scene, that kind of shift that would take place. And then I even think we got to mention a little bit like with the yams. So after that rebirth takes place for him at the end of chapter 11, he kind of begins to embrace his own identity a little bit more and becomes less naive and passive and becomes more assertive, which certainly is going to lead up to his wonderful speech that Ben likes so much that he has here in chapter 13 with the eviction scene that we have taking place. Oh yay, we got to recalibrate.
I don't like the book at all. Too metaphorical. Just tell me what I'm supposed to know. Have you ever heard that Ron Swanson quote? It's just like, that's what my favorite book is going to be. It's just about a book about a man who hates a fish.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure it's super metaphorical.
Yeah, there's like an indie game, and there's a problem, and there's a bunch of things that are.
There we go.
It's a metaphor about death, Sam.
Yeah.
Dude,
I read it on like the.
you read the abridged version of Mr.
Yeah.
Press's
Some Cassidy Goodworth did it on my hand, but I didn't get.
All right, Brother Jack. What do we know about him, whether it be physical description, whether it be ideological philosophies?
He's very calm, and he's convinced that Tim will join the cause.
Okay, so
He's very assured about it.
and he's certainly he's heavily recruiting Tim to join, as you said, the cause. And here's my number. You'll want to kind of give me a call. No, I doubt it. Well, why don't you take the cart anyway? Give me a call by 8 o'clock. Everything will be okay. And then, of course, Tim ends up giving him a call.
I think it was alluded to that he doesn't want him because he thinks he's a good. I mean, he wants him because he thinks he's a good speech giver. But like, remember him and his lady friend are talking, and she's like, she should be able to black. Like, I think he wants him inherently just to be a pawn for his movement.
I agree with Tim.
Okay, well, so initially he identifies him as a gifted speaker. So that's like what kind of breaks the ice and then gets him to become interested in the cause. What is the cause? Like, what's the organization?
Communist
NAACP.
Party.
Well, it's never comes out and says that, but the group, they are referred to as the Brotherhood, where, and Tim feels uncomfortable when Jack's, calling him brother, and even on his way out, Tim goes, okay, thank you, brother, kind of meaning it somewhat sarcastic. But instead of, using the term brother for 1950s, what would be getting thrown around with, Communist Party?
Comrade.
Comrade. So if you read 1984 and all, this is kind of similar to that kind of idea where they would be referring to each other as brother. So yeah, the illusion that ends up being associated with it, and Ellison does go, yes, this is what I was trying to allude to. So this isn't one being interpretive. This is Ellison going, yeah, I meant it to be reference to the Communist Party. So the U.S. Communist Party. Now, you're concerned about ulterior motives and all of that kind of stuff with it. You remember the name of the hotel that he goes to?
It's some weird, Middle Eastern name.
You need can I buy a vowel, please, to try to just. That's not bad.
It's good.
CHTH.
So I'm already close,
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
It's Chthonian.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Did I pronounce it right?
Hmm?
Oh, yes.
So
Latin Club know anything about Chthonian?
No, not even anything. I don't know anything.
Is that a
about Latin.
city?
I've been taking it for 3 years.
Not quite.
It is a biblical town.
Nope.
I already tried.
No, it is a religion. It's a mythical beast.
Sounds like.
I think religion.
I bet it's a
religion sounds-
museum.
Chthonian is another name for Hades, the underworld.
Oh, it's hell. Sorry.
Alright.
Yes! You got that!
Yes.
Why don't you come to our little party we're having at the hotel? Or hell.
Oh, is this guy's the devil? Him and Lucius.
Oh, because he's where they
I'm
have
pretty
to.
sure. Isn't he?
No, he's Jack Wells.
He's
The-
so.
So, Brother Jack, white male, red hair, worried about what are his motives. Hey, come to my party down here in Hades. It would be a good time for us to kind of get together.
Wait, could Brother Jack be
She's
a
so
symbol?
excited.
Okay, listen. Could Brother Jack be a symbol for the devil? Could it be like a play on religion? Because like, not you call priests father, but don't you call deacons brothers?
What's a deacon? Oh, he's the
Oh.
guy.
I
He's the guy in
I forget, but you call someone in a religious field brother. Something.
Yeah, well, no,
Could it be like a play on that?
if you go to St. Vincent College,
Yeah.
where monastery, they'll
Yeah.
refer to each other as brothers.
That's what it is.
So you could even have like, because some of the professors are the monks at St. Vincent.
Yeah.
So you could have like Brother Bill could end up being your professor. Well, no, what he's definitely doing for sure is I would say he purposely has Jack kind of have this like reddish hair, alluding to the underworld where there's going to be some malevolence kind of taking place. And Sam's already saying that he's not so sure about what his intentions are. And Emma, has the page 303 would be where there. Don't you think he should be a little blacker? I think he even kind of did a little bit of an underworld reference to Brockway, because Brockway's down in the basement underneath. Lucius Brockway, a Lucifer, kind of character, devilish character. So that's something that he certainly kind of keeps going to over and over again. And he even, at the very beginning, when he's talking about where Tim stays, he descended like Dante into the depths. Dante visits hell in Dante's Inferno. The text that if you take next year, you can end up reading it. So he certainly has some ominous foreboding that's taking place with it. I don't think he's doing, a critical commentary on, Catholic Church or anything like that, with them being Brother Jack and whatnot. I'd say that'd be more of just kind of replacing Comrade. But certainly, it's not a good feeling that you have that's kind of taking place here with it whatsoever. So it can certainly make you somewhat, concerned about intentions. Sam, you brought up Emma's line. Don't you think you should be a little blacker?
Yeah.
What do you think she means by that?
That he Tim might not correctly lead the African American race because he might not be able to. A lot of blacks might not be able to relate to him because his skin color might be a little bit different from the average.
They're trying to use him as the face of
Yeah.
their movement, and if he's not the blackest he can be, it's gonna be.
He's not like the ideal.
He's
not
the
ideal.
epitome of a black
I
person.
think it also means not just his skin color. I think it also means the way that he presented himself. Because after he came out of the shock therapy stuff,
Well, he was
he was.
I mean, Brother Jack was.
Well, she's
No,
talking about
I'm talking
Jim.
about
Yeah.
him.
Jim.
I'm talking about him. No. See, look what you do. Now I don't remember what I was saying. No, I remember now. No, I think it's not just blacker, the skin color. I think they also mean the stereotype of black people. They want someone more like the guy that had a baby with his daughter.
What are Jack and Emma, race-wise?
White.
Okay. So, and the majority, not all, and you're going to meet more from Brotherhood really throughout the rest of the book. Both of these characters, and the majority of the Brotherhood, are made up of whites, mostly white male. Emma obviously being female, and there are going to be other brothers. Todd, you're going to meet very, very soon, is also black, but they are looking for essentially a spokesperson for Harlem, for this area. So they want a person who they feel is going to be a good representative. By Emma going, don't you think he should be a little blacker? She is looking, regardless of what her stereotype is, she is looking for someone to fit a specific role. So whereas Jack likes him because of his speaking ability, she's not really focused on his speaking ability, but she is looking for him to fit a certain purpose, essentially to kind of be a tool, a representative of what the Brotherhood wants for Harlem. So it kind of makes you wonder, all right, what do they really want him to do? Do they want him to really kind of be a speaker, to be someone who's going to be able to tell, their philosophies and things of that nature? Or is there some other kind of intention that they also have for it?
I'm also confused on, is just like the Brotherhood perusing the streets of Harlem looking for somebody and like just happen to stumble upon him, or were they like scouting him out?
You don't know if they're necessarily scouting him out, but
Just scouting someone.
there definitely have been there before, because Jack even makes the comment, "Oh, I know all those people. I know most of those people who were at the eviction." When he's talking about who he's going to be speaking up, you're going to get a little bit more detail too. There's a bit of a power struggle that's kind of taking place in Harlem between the Brotherhood and between another character, Roz, who's going to get introduced. Roz gets briefly mentioned in the prologue. Roz, the destroyer. And then when Tim first comes out of the subway, when he enters New York in chapter 7, down the road he sees a guy who's making a speech with like a West Jamaican accent. That's Roz. So in for A push, you guys talk about Marcus Garvey at all? Roz is going to be kind of a connection to a historical figure, Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey is from Jamaica. Marcus Garvey is ultimately deported, and one of the things that from the evicted couple's belongings was a newspaper article that Marcus Garvey being deported in, I think it's like 1923. Garvey is one who is very ultra aggressive, almost kind of militant in blacks must demand equality right now. And ultimately, if it's not going to be granted to us in the United States, then we need to go find our own place and do it. So there is going to be a little bit of a power struggle that's kind of happening. So the Brotherhood is looking to kind of increase its footprint in Harlem, and it's easier to do that if rather than having a bunch of white men and women going, hey, you should kind of join us. Let's get African Americans to come.
In this book, is Roz a man?
Yes.
Or is it Roz also?
Yeah, no, it's man. Yeah. And
So
he's first going to be introduced as Roz the Exporter. And so as if you are exporting, you're trying to urge people to do something. So it's like Roz the urger.
what was the name of that guy who was riding that cart around and singing and stuff?
P.D. Wheatstraw.
So he kept like mentioning this like thing that was going on that he thought Tim was a part of. Is it possible that that guy with the cart with the blueprints was with the Brotherhood, and he assumed that Tim was also?
Well, Wheatstraw's not.
No.
No, he's not going to have anything with it. But he's certainly going around and kind of knows that this isn't like, because Tim has no idea really where he's at, so far within New York City. So he can tell that he knows that there's stuff kind of brewing, so to speak, with it. Other things to kind of keep in mind here with Jack and Emma, talking about trying to get him to fit a specific role and what is their intent. I don't remember if it was you or if it was someone in fourth period. What does Jack give Tim? And this, of course, frustrates us because we want to know Tim's name. But Jack gives him a new identity. What are other things that Jack gives him?
Give him a bunch of money.
Remember how much?
$60.
He gets a
200?
salary of $60 a week, but he also gets a bonus of $300.
Credit to that.
And then he's going to have apartment, new clothes. So like with the money he can use for apartment,
It's a suit, right?
Yep. pays off Mary Rambo.
Oh yeah. Why?
His name was $300.
No.
White? Oh, he's becoming a white man.
Assimilating?
Well, he's not becoming a white man, but what is Brother Jack becoming? Here's money. Here's your new identity.
A trustee.
No. He's becoming like a father figure.
Kira's like laughing at you.
You know, Kira? Like, say it.
No.
You get it, right? Say it!
I mean, he's giving him a new life, so he's a rebirther of some sort.
A sugar daddy.
What? I hate that.
Oh, okay.
It's his white master.
Oh yeah, he's a slave to him. He just does anything he says.
Slaves don't get paid.
Some slaves get paid.
Well, but I mean, it smacks of slavery because where a lot of slaves like Booker T. Washington, he wasn't born, and they go, he shall be called Booker T. Washington. Although I know you and him are personal friends, so
Yeah.
you could talk about
Go
this.
way back.
How did he get the last name Washington?
White dude.
His slave
It's
owner.
the slave owner's last name. So part of slavery is not only that you are, stuck obviously in where you are, but your identity now is controlled by, essentially that white master. Here's the other thing too. What is the what character from first part, chronological chapter 9, would you say Tim is really disgusted by? It could be multiple, but who's the one who really is disgusted by?
What's the guy's name that had relations with his daughter?
So True Blood.
Yeah.
And what really ticks him off? I mean, not just like that physical act itself.
He gets money. It's $100
For what?
For nothing.
to get his
No, he
stories.
gets money because he tells
Stories.
his story. He is paid for his story. He is paid for his speaking. He's paid by the rich white guy for telling his story. Tim,
He's paid for being stereotyped.
and because he is a speaker, he's an orator, you're able to move people. They're paying him to essentially tell their story. So what Jack does with Tim is very similar to what Norton does with True Blood. So in a lot of ways, Tim's like True Blood. Tim, we already said yesterday, is kind of like Brockway. And then after the party at the Chthonian, he wakes up, he's hungover. Steam pipe is, resonating with noise from up above. Tim gets upset, picks up the bank, and chucks it at him. What's the bank that he throws?
The racist.
It's a derogatory caricature of a black man. You put money in its hand, you move the lever, the arm then feeds the money into the mouth. What just happened to Tim? They put a whole bunch of money in his hand so that he can now have it. So this racist stereotype that, he kind of, it's not that he looks at the bank and gets completely upset by it, but this stereotype is essentially what he is. Now, after he takes the bank, he tries to get rid of it. He gets all the shards of it, the pieces of glass into the briefcase. And I think we said yesterday, this is the one time that he is now visible. He can't get rid of it. What can he not shake at this time?
Derogatory.
This derogatory identity that he is now so closely associated with. It's in his bank, it's in his briefcase, it's part of who he is now. This is kind of like what his role seems to be with the Brotherhood. So the idea that there would be, strongly negative connotations going on, sure, he's not much different than the way the True Blood was. He seems to be kind of like the bank incarnate. That is a derogatory caricature of him. This is now what his new identity that he has freely accepted. He's now kind of taken part of this role of being part of that Brotherhood. Now, chapter 16, he's paid to speak, so he's going to give his first big speech as part of the Brotherhood. Pay attention to where he gives the speech, the location of it, because there should be some things that make you go, this sounds kind of familiar to other stuff that I've read before. Because again, you're going to get that spiral boomerang kind of effect that tends to take place. Rambo, I think, like you were,
I was watching your finger.
he's had Kimbrough. Now we have Rambo. Now we're going to be getting a character of Brother Hambro. So there's kind of like some similarities among their names. Why that similarity could be there, we want to talk about when we're done. Alright.
Just again, it's kind of a silly connection. But so you know the name of the hotel had something to do with Haiti.
Hades. Well, Hades.
Yeah, it's
Underworld.
Hades, and there's that country Hades in the.
No, there's a.
Haiti.
Okay, that's what I meant. Haiti in the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
And there was that guy who was Jamaican, right?
There was who?
There was